Welcome to the Clashing of Steel.
And today it is once again when I'm playing archers. As usually, I prefer the barbarian ones because they pack a bit more punch. Well, as I like to play the barbarians, I like to play on the Alps right behind my infantry, preferably near the watchtower. If played correctly and defended correctly, it can work wonders and archers can be invaluable. But then again, often enough, I am pushed out of my comfort zone or my preferred location and have to deal with many other inconveniences. So it starts off great. Infantry is here, Germanicus, Testudo, everything defended, and even I can dodge the opposing ranged fire. Originally trying to stay out of sight and just be as a support unit, preferably not getting hit by catapults. So I'm hoping that our infantry will take the tower. I'm hoping that everything will go according to plan and maybe I can move a bit closer behind them. And what do we see? Oh, the javelins, the archers, the Germanicus. Such a huge force coming this way, and it probably does not help that the archers are shooting at me and Germanicus has turned his back. Although I can dodge the archer fire excellently, I can just annoy opponents because they're using from the shadows in a very naive way, but since Germanicus turned his back, he is suffering more casualties than he actually needs to. Well, this is not good. Our team did not use the force. They did not use force to push. And since we don't even have a great view over on the hilltop, there is not much we can do against the opposing archers. Although if they're using still from the shadows, we do have a chance. But as long as I can see the javelins, I'm gonna harass them, because they're the ones that can cause most harm to infantry units. I'm also using from the shadows, but I use it all just to force them to move. So now comes an interesting moment. There are 3 units of Germanicus swordsmen moving down on the hillside, trying to go for our base. Since I'm noticing them and no one else is dealing with them, I would rather prefer to start dealing with them right away. Although I could use some infantry or cavalry support, because it would be preferred if I could get someone else to pull away the focus. Because if they're focused on me, I'm mostly gonna be shooting against a shield wall. And that's something I actually don't want to do. Oh, and he's coming back. So I would think this is a great situation for me. He's stacked. I think very little of him. I think he's a very naive player. But my focus is to take my archers to the bushes and use my infantry to flank them from the side, so that my archers can shoot them from the side. Instead, I probably should have gone a bit more around them and then started engaging them. Because even if I shoot these Armored Legionaries from the side, the damage is not rather significant. They will just block so many missiles even when they are not in the Testudo. One thing I didn't notice here that kinda costs me a little bit is that they had only 2 infantry units. That means the third one is going around, and I didn't notice that. Fortunately, I do move out of the bushes. As much as I would love to keep the vision on them, I'm kinda careful, because if I go close, they might just charge upon me and I might lose a lot of troops. Okay, I did make a huge mistake here, not pulling my infantry out. But I was actually hoping in the beginning of this engagement that he would stack and stay there, because so many players just do. And now I think, oh, he's following me. While at the same time, this was the 3rd unit that came around. I mean, since they're Armored Legionaries, they're so slow and could have been here a lot sooner. And now happens also one of the mistakes I make. I try to go after the infantry that is engaged, while these guys that I actually weakened, I mistook for the opponents that went over the road into the other side of the bushes. No one ever said archer life is easy, especially against units that can block with a lot of armor, that can block a lot of missiles. Preferably I should try and keep some vision on them, but it's gonna be hard. They're gonna be following me, and by doing so, probably outrange one of my archer units. I do like to kite them somewhere between the bushes and between the road, because that's why, or that way, I have the most vision. But at the same time, right now, I'm kind of afraid what is happening in the bushes. He might be coming after me, or he might be going after my other archer unit. And fortunately, that is not happening. Oh, I love this. It is so excellent to shoot opponents that just want to get away from me. And the pile, of course. Well, I mean, he doesn't have any other place to use it, so it was a good use. Seeing as he pushed so far and got harassed so much. Well, I've actually harassed him quite a bit. I've kept him away from the middle, which was one of the key focuses if I could have. Preferably, I would have wanted some support from 2 infantry units or cavalry units that could have pulled away their focus, forced them to maneuver in ways they would have not wanted to. And right now, because I'm not going after them, was simple because I can't see in the bushes. And now I see where they're going. I could have predicted this, I kinda did, but I just was playing safe to avoid a bait from the bushes. And this is an excellent place from the shadows. I mean, March is gonna shoot in a high angle anyway. And why not just get that extra bonuses from the shadows, of course. I am kinda sad about my infantry, but at least I can support my catapults. And, well, I did harass these Armored Legionaries quite a bit. They were confused, they were kinda misled. They could have been useful, perhaps flanking us from the middle, but they wanted to go for our base. I foresaw it, and I just interrupted their advance. We didn't have many other units who were willing to defend anyway, so often enough I am forced to deal with them. If they would have gone onto my base, I might have earned reasonable score as well. But instead I was just poking them and dealing with them most of the time. And they were probably blocking most of my missiles half of the time. And well, since the barbarians are coming as well, I can do at least a little. I'm gonna defend my friendly archers, I'm gonna use my crippling shot, and I'm gonna just be an annoyance for them. That is a perfect task for me. Well, that guy picked his Armored Legionnaires, he tried to go greedy, go right after our base. They might have actually had a chance if he would have flanked us from the rear around the hill of the watchtower. That would have been probably the worst scenario. Instead, I was still able to pull away his focus. He tried to focus on me, which was probably one of his biggest mistakes. While he probably should have gone either to flank or just send one unit after me and then use the other 2 to force our friendlies or my friendlies out of their preferable positions. It is easy to point out these simple yet important mistakes at the end of the match or at rewatching a video, but it may be harder to notice these at certain points because players usually play for self-preservation. And that can mean they fight for their own. They fight for themselves, not for the team, not for the victory, for themselves, in hopes of doing something. As I can understand that, it is usually a lot more beneficial to fight for your team. Simple example how I did it was I engaged the infantry that tried to sneak through. I engaged the infantry that eventually died because they tried to kill something, they tried to fight, like Germanic players usually do. They just want to engage something, get score. By my opinion, that is a bad attitude towards your team and in this game in general. I want to get score. While my focus usually is to be useful. Because simply that can pay off a lot more, that can pay out a lot more. Being archers is often rigorous work and payout can be terrible. But the way I see it is, if I fight for the victory, at least I'll have a great feeling about doing something. Although sadly, in many cases it may not be rewarded as it was in here. I did do some damage, I did harass my opponents, I tried to keep them away from base, I managed to keep them on me, keep them away from my team from flanking them, and everything like that. But okay, let's take a look at the scoreboard. So, on the scoreboard I was rather useless. I did some offense, I did some support, but mostly useless. While the infantry I toyed with, messed with, was the best in the opposing team. They got a lot of missile block. They don't even have to use the Studer to get that missile block. They just need to face towards me, which is a horrible way to get a lot of easy score. And offense, I guess they got for killing my barbarian infantry unit, sword shield unit, and going after the catapult. So the javelins and archers I faced near the watchtower, well, the javelins there are no other options, Brasula, and the archers were the worst in their team as well. They managed to do something, they managed to be annoying, not much else. They used from the shadows too fast, too early, too aggressively. I mean, it is a great way to push me if that is your plan, but if your plan is to kill something, that should not be used. Not unless opponents are really close and you have a very great chance to hit them. Or if opponents are just stationary and you can hammer them. I mean, From the Shadows is a great ability, but using it every time, that's kind of a waste unless your opponent is a total lemon. Well, this is the Archer life, sadly. You can be good, you can be great, you can be horrible. But well, the most fun I had was just seeing how he tried to maneuver against me and eventually went for the easy target, catapults. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.